Hey guys, this video is a little different from what I normally have on my YouTube channel. The topic tonight is multi-tools. I've been wanting to get a multi-tool. The big names, as you probably know if you're looking at these yourself, is Gerber and Letherman. Now there are others, but those are the most popular ones it seems. And the Gerber MP1 is the one that I looked at, and the other is the Letherman Wave. And there's a lot of videos that do comparisons of the different tools that each of them have, so I'm not going to spend too much time on those kind of specifics, but I did just want to show some things that appealed to me that maybe I didn't see in other videos. And if you hang around to the end, something a little extra that I think is pretty cool. So let's start with the Leatherman Wave. These usually come with a sheath that's some sort of ballistic nylon. I happened to find one that had leather, so I grabbed it. So the Leatherman Wave, it's all metal. Right away you'll notice two different styles, two different approaches in how Leatherman versus Gerber makes their tools, and I think you'll see that in the piece we do at the end as well. You also just notice that opening this up took a little bit of pressure. This may break in some over time, but will probably still have some of that tightness to it. So this guy has a lot of tools. I think it's like 17 if you include things like the ruler and stuff like that. They give you a chart with all the different tools that are on the various Leatherman tools. You look up your tool, in this case the Wave, and it shows you all the things that has on it. So that's pretty cool. This is the kind of tool that is very good to have if you have very limited space. For example, in my tool bag on a motorcycle, this would be a good thing to have. Choosing between the two, though, it really depends on what kind of work you're doing, what kind of way that you think you're going to use the tool, and where you're going to be. The Leatherman seems to be something that would be well suited for somebody outdoors. This is a bottle opener as well as a very sharp can opener. Do some cutting with that. The screwdriver piece, it's removable. There's a flat blade and a Phillips head, but you'll notice it's very thin. So you're going to need Gerber style, Leatherman bits for this guy. You're not going to take regular hex bits and fit them in here unless you get some kind of adapter, and I'm not even sure if that exists. So that was something that turned me off a little bit about the Leatherman. Leathermans typically have scissors, which is pretty cool, and they really work well. Just flip that little guy out, and they are spring loaded, and they're pretty sharp. This is kind of a interesting thing to have on a multi-tool, and that's like a very small flat blade, maybe eyeglasses. Good to have. So those are the tools that are on the inside. When you have it closed back up, you have a very sharp serrated knife on one side. On the other side you have a very sharp smooth knife. You'll notice that these, I'm using 2 fingers to pull these out, and they do lock, by the way. Just remember that, because I'm going to contrast that in a minute. The file is really good. It's got a rough edge and then also a diamond, very smooth file. And on the other side we also have something which would be good outdoors, and that's a saw. And let me tell you, this thing is sharp. So limited space, maybe you don't want to carry a lot, this is a good tool to have. But when you go for the tool you need, it's going to take some deliberate action. Now, why am I stressing that? Well, this is something about the Gerber that I really appreciated, and it is just a whole different style. First of all, when you open it up, you hear that sound. That's spring loaded, so you have that. And just the way this thing opens and closes is so easy. And even if you don't open it, you just pull it right out of the sheath, and you've got a flat blade knife with one thumb action. Very easy to pull out. I find myself going to this all the time. Another thing that I really like is it's a true hex style driver. So it comes with a Phillips head, but you can put anything in here. And I got a little kit locally at Home Depot, which has Torx, Allens, regulars, flat blades, the squares, I mean all kinds of stuff. It's really cheap too. So you don't have to buy that specifically from Gerber. So that was appealing. It's got a couple other screwdrivers, one small, one larger, and it doesn't have the cutting style can opener, but it does have a bottle opener. However, it does have a pretty strong wedge style tool, and this is kind of like a chisel. So it's got some nice stuff. All these are locking as well. You use this little tab to close them back up. When I open the Gerber, it just feels like quality. I mean, they're both engineered really well, but differently. So I've used this tool in the week or two that I've had it every day at work. It's very easy to just pull it out, use it, pop it back in without even thinking about it. With Leatherman wouldn't be as easy to do that with. But I can definitely see times and places where I would want the extra tools that a Leatherman has on it. So which one's better? It really depends on who you are, where you're going, how you want to use your tool, what your needs are. I would not say either is better, they're just different. And one thing that I thought was really cool is, and this is the part at the end that I was talking about, this is an older Gerber multi-tool, which I think is around 20 years old. This is a Leatherman, which my father let me borrow, and this is over 20, probably closer to 25 years old. And I found it interesting that even though they're decades earlier, they're very similar in their approach. Again, the Leatherman is all metal, a little tight. You're not going to flick the tools out with one finger or thumb, but it does have a lot of tools on it for, you know, the time period that this thing was made. I'll just show you them. Some various knives and flat blades on that side. Over on the other side, the file. Again, the very small flat blade. And they don't have the removable bits, but they do have a Phillips head. And there's your can opener. So that is the Leatherman from years back. And then the Gerber, maintaining, you know, even back then, the smooth, the way this thing just kind of falls open and falls closed. Very easy. And inside you've got flat knife, can opener, bottle opener, flat blade, serrated knife, Phillips head, more cutting tools. So for its day, you know, nicely engineered. So again, you know, which of these would you want to have 20 years ago? Well, again, it depends where you are, what you're doing. So I happened to end up getting both the Gerber and the Leatherman because they weren't really that expensive. I got them for work, and I'll use them in different places. But if you're trying to decide, hopefully this gave you some points that maybe you didn't see elsewhere. And the one thing I totally forgot to mention about the Gerber is it has this black, I don't know what it's called, I apologize. I don't know if it's just fair to say plastic, but whatever it is, I'm sure it's quite sturdy. It just gives it a different feel than the all-metal Leatherman, and I actually like it a lot. So if I could only have one of these, personally, I'd take the Gerber. It just works for what I need. This would be my carry around during the day style tool, and even on my motorcycle, because of all those bits that I could use with it, I think it would work there well. But there's definitely a place for the Leatherman, maybe different type of user, different type of work, or whether you're indoors or outdoors, that would be better for you. So hopefully that gave you some interesting insights on the differences between the two tools. If you can get both of them, why not? But if you have to choose, then you see the pros and cons of each. And I thought it was really cool being able to compare them to something from a couple generations ago, or a generation ago. So that's it for this one. That's Tool Talk for today. Till next time.